What's up, everybody? It's your boy James Woody in the building, and I just wanted to talk about one of my favorite things. It is the NFL Top 100. All right, this is a list that is organized by the players, peer review. I know a lot of NFL players, they are sick and tired of guys who, just sit in suits behind desks, making all these different armchair assessments, hating people, talking on the couch, hating people like me, just letting my mouth run wild, right? And saying all these things without, physically being there on the gridiron. So this is where the NFL Top 100 comes in, that peer review. We're talking about NFL players ranking NFL players. It is, I don't want to say pure because sometimes there is some bias, but it is something that should be held in a different esteem because, again, these are NFL players acknowledging, ooh, that player is tough to guard, or, ooh, that player is tough to go against. So that's what I like about it. Of course, there is the bias. Jamar Chase, the year that Patrick Mahomes, or one of the years, because I believe he's done it twice, finished number one. Jamar Chase said, I'm not picking that guy. And he voted Joe Burrow over Patrick Mahomes. But you see, you ask enough players and all that bias is nullified. Mahomes was still able to be number one because in this situation, when you ask enough players, the cream rises to the top. So, with all that being said, what does this have to do with the New York Jets? Well, the Jets were coming off their most prolific year in the history of the NFL Top 100. I mean, we went on a stretch where there was no Jet on any Top 100 for years, and then all of a sudden, boom! Last year we had six if you count Hassan Reddick, but five that were on the team the previous year. And then this year, it looks like we only have one. We have Quinnen Williams, our guy. All right. He was there last year. He's there this year. So the other guys that were on there that are no longer on there was Quincy Williams, who was the highest rated Jet. He was 32nd on the list. And then Quinnen was 37. Sauce was 38. Garrett Wilson was 72nd, and then Aaron Rodgers was number 92 on that list. And with that, ranking, they were only going off of 4 plays, so that's amazing that he even made the list. I can't lie, but all of those players dropped off. I saw this graphic here on Instagram. NFL Preem on IG was out here. He said Sauce was snubbed. He was snubbed. He is the highest paid cornerback in all of football, yet is not in the top 100. Is that the case? Was he snubbed? If you're asking me, it's tough. It's tough because obviously, there's a lot of players, right? And we're not talking about the top corners because that was the argument, right? Top corners not being, featured. Turns out there were 7 corners that made the list for the top 100. And we all saw Sauce. We saw him. He didn't have a career year last year like Garrett Wilson had a career year. His drop-off, I don't think was I think it was bigger than the drop-off of our guy Quincy Williams, who, fell off the list. I don't think he was a top 7 cornerback last year. And I think a lot of fans in the time we're talking about trade Sauce, cut Sauce, doing all this nonsense. So I don't think the fan base thought he was a top 7 corner last year. And PFF for damn sure didn't think he was a top 7 corner last year because he was ranked 31st. So I think that's all it is. He's coming off a down year, not at all a bad year. Honestly, when you think about, corners, right, there are 64 starting corners on the outside. So for me, if you are within that 64, you're doing your job as a starting corner. Now to be in the top 32, then that means you are CB1. So Sauce, even in a down year, was still CB1. He just wasn't, the same all-pro caliber season that he had his first few seasons in the league. PFF has already gone ahead and named him the number 1 corner in the league heading into the year. So nothing to fret. I don't think it was a snub. I think it was a very accurate, very fair rating. But we'll see this year. Aaron Glenn, new defense. Will McDonald, Jermaine Johnson, Harrison Phillips out here building up that line to, create pressure and make things a little bit easier for the corners. We'll see who ends up on this list next year. I'm expecting Quinnen to return. I think, any year that Quinnen is playing games, he is going to be on this list. I'm expecting Sauce to return. And then for everybody else, it's a little, you got to put some elbow grease into it. We might see an offensive lineman on here. Offensive linemen definitely make the list. And, of course, the running backs. We are expected to be running the football a lot as a team. So, Brees, this is your chance to, make an impact on this list. So, I am expecting more than just one Jet. I'm expecting at least 2. And we'll see if we can get more. But with the list that they did this year, I commend the players. I think they made the right call.